is the Screenwriting Workshop. So I'm just going to do my best to regurgitate what I've learned in the couple classes I've had that really helped me in this subject. This is the overall film, and then it's broken down into acts, and then the acts are broken down into sequences.
Are sequences different than scenes?
Yes. The amount of sequences depends on what's in the scene. The sequences are broken down into scenes.
Is there a certain number of scenes in a sequence?
No, it's totally dependent on the film. But basically, a scene is determined by like related beats, and beats are the next thing. Beats are the smallest measure of like a film. It's hard to describe it exactly, but basically related actions within like a list of related actions determines a scene. Of scenes that are related is a sequence, and this is just like structures of organization. And then you get the acts. Like when something drastically changes, like here and here, when the acts change, those are called like plot points. Those are like major events that just like cause a huge change. And structure is really important with the screenplay because usually the writer is not the one who films it, and so if you want your story to survive, it has to be very well structured so that the director that receives it understands it and knows how to like plug it in, basically.
So it's a good story, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys know what this is?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you usually divide it into acts, but I've heard that you shouldn't do that. Like my teacher is Cy Kuchenbaker, by the way, and he's amazing, and I'm like, I do a shitty job compared to him. You start out, and you have complications along the way. Right? Like the complications get worse and worse, and somewhere along here you get the character receives new information. It could happen like anywhere within here, but at some point the character gets new information, and that generates like a surprise. Like we got the build up here, and then the resolution, right? So you get new information, it leads up to a surprise. What happens next is like a moment of recognition, or like a moment of learning when the character sees like, oh, like, whoa, like epiphany, you know, like light bulb going off. After that, the character has to make a decision.
Is this generalized for all movies? Or?
Yeah. It's fun to watch a movie and figure out like where these things are within it. And that's actually like, when you do that, you start to understand the film in a deeper way, and it means more to you. At least for me, that's it. So when the character makes a decision, they have a reversal. Surprise, recognition, and reversal. Those are like the basic things, the basic ingredients, or DNA, as Sai says, of a story. After that, all the problems that you created for the characters in the build-up get resolved. I made some cards here. They're like Magic the Gathering cards.
Nice.
But they're for like each element of the story. This is the card for surprise.
Complex plot on trap mode.
Complex plot.
This is the
down
card.
mode.
So this is the card for the complex plot. This is called the complex plot. The idea came from Aristotle, actually. He wrote something called Poetics, and this is his basic idea.
Pretty much like life.
Yes. Yeah. About the characters, like you've heard like protagonist, antagonist, and like foil character. I'm just gonna say the protagonist is the one that moves the story forward. And these are not set in stone. There's like different versions of like some people say that there's a main character. This is that would be the character that the audience relates to.
So it would be like Lord of the Rings. Sam is the main character, then Frodo is the protagonist, Sauron is the protagonist. And,
Yeah.
I don't know, Merry and Pippin are the foil.
Yeah. The foil character just like illuminates the other characters. Like it provides something for the characters to reflect off of.
Like the supporting actor or something,
Yeah.
right?
So wait, like, wouldn't Gandalf work better as a foil
Yeah.
to Frodo? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
There are many more like aspects like Gandalf could also be seen as a mentor, like within the story.
Yeah, and it depends on what kind of story you're looking at, right? Because they all have different structures.
Yeah, and how deep you go to, because there could be words for like, semantics. It just becomes semantics. But basically, you've got the protagonist or the main character. Most of the time, they're the same person. But sometimes you have just the relatable character, and then the one that progresses the story forward. That's the protagonist. And then the antagonist simply tries to prevent the protagonist from moving forward.
And the foil is just there along for the ride, or?
It reflects the protagonist.
Would that be Donkey?
Okay.
Off of Shrek. Yeah, because
Or
Donkey, you see sides of Shrek based like on his reactions, on his interactions with Donkey, right? Isn't there reflections like interactions that they would have, kinda, or like how they would react to each other?
Anything that shows the nature of that character.
Oh, okay. So because like Shrek isn't always some monster, and you know that with the interactions he has with Donkey.
Yeah, but in terms of the, I just want to talk about the antagonist real quick. The antagonist is the most important character in your film. Like you usually think.
Without him, there's no movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, without it.
Without Darth Vader, so.
Yeah, you need someone that's like, they need to be strong. Like the stronger, the smarter, the more intimidating, the better. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Antagonist. And so I made a card for the antagonist. It's Darth Vader. Okay, so this is the dramatic relationship between the characters in the story. It's a triangle. You got your main characters. Okay, so one character wants something that relates to the other one. Okay, and Darth Vader wants Luke to join the Empire, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, because he's a son.
Because he's a Skywalker.
That's a good conflicting desire. Like this guy wants something that relates to that one. This guy wants something opposite that relates to that. What you have to do is make a triangle like that, so that it has three different aspects. Okay, I think we got this concept, right?
No idea. This is so long.
Do you guys understand the concept of diagramming this?
Yeah, it's better to map it out.
Yes. And then when this is clear to you about your story, then you can start writing the story and the plot and everything. Alright, so at this point my camera ran out of batteries. The next topic I'd like to talk about is dramatic irony. The concept of this is very simple. The audience knows something that the characters do not know. Here's some examples. The shower scene in Psycho. And here's when we start to see the figure in the background starting to close in. Now she doesn't know it, but we do, and that's dramatic irony. And here's a famous interview with Hitchcock.
All people are sitting around a table, talking about baseball, whatever you like. 5 minutes of it, very dull. Suddenly, a bomb goes off, blows the people to smithereens. What do the audience have? 10 seconds of shock. Now take the same scene and tell the audience there is a bomb under that table and will go off in 5 minutes. But the whole emotion of the audience is totally different because you've given them that information. But in 5 minutes' time, that bomb will go off. Now the conversation about baseball becomes very vital because they're saying to you, don't be ridiculous, stop talking about baseball, there's a bomb under there. You've got the audience working. Now the only difference is, well, I've been guilty of, in the picture Sabotage, of making this error, but I've never made it since. The bomb must never go off. Because if you do, you work that audience into a state, and then they'll get angry because you haven't provided them with any relief. And that's almost a must. So a foot touches the bomb, somebody looks down and says, my God, bomb. Out of the window, then it goes off. Just in time.
So there you have the basic idea of dramatic irony. And the last thing I want to talk about is slow surprise. So, on the storyline, you usually have the surprise, the recognition, and then the reversal. If you spread out the surprise over a longer period of time, then it will generate a lot of suspense. The suspense will keep building and building and building. And a good example of this is United Flight 93. In this film, the passengers on the flight are trying to figure out what's going on with the hijackers. Why did they hijack the plane, and what are they doing? What are their plans? And of course, the audience already knows because this was a huge thing in the news. So that generates dramatic irony because the audience knows that the plane is going to crash, that the terrorists are on a suicide mission. But the passengers do not know that, and then they slowly figure it out as the film progresses. They collect clues a little bit at a time. And so that's what slow suspense does. I mean, slow surprise. Just a great way of creating a lot of tension